Hi, I'm Suzanne Lyons, and welcome to Goal Setting Part 3. I've got a real treat for you today. I've invited some incredible people from the entertainment industry, all levels and all facets of the entertainment industry, to discuss a very important topic. What do we do when we get stuck? It's an issue that we're all going to have to deal with at some point in our career. So let's get right to the heart of this discussion. We tend to get more than our fair share of roadblocks in this industry. In fact, there's probably more gatekeepers, and we get more rejection than any other business in the world. In fact, I had a friend of mine who, during an audition, the director was terribly rude to her, and it shut her down for 3 months. She wouldn't go on an audition for 3 months. In fact, she didn't even know she was stuck. That's how far deep in the quicksand she was. So I've asked our guests today to kind of share their experience and also to offer some advice for people who are currently in that situation.
This is a game that takes a lot of strength that is, besides just physical, it takes a lot of mental and emotional strength to do this thing that we do. And so find those support systems that can help you, and reach outside of yourself. Give friends if need be. Like, if you haven't heard from me, I might be on the couch, incapable of calling. So please know that that's my red flag of, like, please call. Or if you still have if you have the ability, call and reach out. Have those friends, create the relationships that make living worthwhile, but also are so valuable and important within an artist's life, because we're hired to have a full emotional experience on stage, on the page, in front of people.
God, you know, my career has been a roller coaster, as probably most people's career are. That's just the way it is in this business. It's ups and downs. And I think I got this from Flash Forward. It was this concept of knowing when you're experiencing a breakdown, which is when nothing is happening. And generally it's because you've created a story that is your interpretation of what's been going on, and you tell yourself this story. I'm too old, I'm too not hip enough, I am not talented enough. It goes on and on. You interpret something that's happened, whether it's been a meeting that has been postponed and then finally never happens, a script rejection, an audition rejection, you don't get a job, and you interpret that and give it a story. And what I find that I've learned is that you've got to realize you are experiencing a breakdown, and it's a time when you have to look at it and go, what really has happened and what are the facts?
Well, the first aspect of it is, if you've set goals and milestones and you have your 1 year and you know what you're doing, as soon as you start missing those daily activities to stay engaged in your career or whatever you're doing, you're going to start noticing something's wrong. So rather than getting you that chance to really get mired deeply, you're going to find out, oh, my foot's stuck, as opposed to, holy cow, I'm waist deep in quicksand. It's a big difference, and that's the importance of having that goal setting, because not only does it help inspire you to move you forward, it also gives you that track record to say, oops, something's happened. Something slowed me down. What is it? So you can analyze it then, not a week later, a month later, 3 months later, or a year later, when you don't even then can't even remember, well, what was that point?
Well, first of all, I would say that yes, I've had those roadblocks thrown up in my life, and that they've been, and I've seen myself later in retrospect that I was in the middle of them. One time I went in and pitched at Deep Space Nine, the Star Trek series, and they loved my pitch, and they asked me to come back, and I worked and I worked and I worked, and I went back, and within 5 minutes I was out of the room, because the producer was having a bad day, or for whatever reason he just wasn't open to hear my stories. And I think that shut me down for about 3 months. And I didn't recognize it until 3 months later. My advice would be to be very specific about what you want to accomplish. Say, for example, in that pitch, it would be to go in and come up with 3 great stories, whether I sell them or not. And so I think we have to keep our eyes on the prize.
I get unstuck by really looking at my thinking and changing the way I perceive things. and saying it over and over and over.
Sometimes it's our own inner fears that shut us down and stop us. Fear of success, fear of failure, fear of the unknown. Even for somebody like me who's been working in the business for years and teaching this stuff for years, I get shut down. Back in 2004, Kate and I, my film partner, we were working on a project, our first project in the United States where we were raising funds. Anyways, we had done great business plans, had a great list of the investors we were going out to, wonderful package all put together, and that was the end of December 2004. The next thing I remember, it was March 1st, 2005. I had completely gone unconscious. The fear of raising the money had stopped me cold. I called Kate and I screamed, "Oh my God, it's March 1st, we're supposed to be shooting in May, and oh heavens, you know, the only units we had sold, the only shares in the film were 2, and that was to each other." That's how crazy it was. I totally had shut down. You know, we all get stopped from time to time. The question is, how do we get unstuck, and how do we get back on track quickly?
Getting back on track more quickly is difficult to do sometimes, but I think it comes back to what we talked about before, which is your timelines. I mean, if you've thought out your timelines, you've written them down, you open that Word document back up and compare your timeline to your calendar and see where you are. And I think that's the fastest way to get back on track.
I think, and this is what I encourage everybody to do, is develop a practice of query with themselves, a practice of every day reaffirming their vision and assessing it, if it's even valid anymore, and feeling into, you know, you can feel in your body. I mean, one of the things that I do is every day I have primary choices, which are like to be happy, to be healthy, to be true to myself, to be free, to be affluent, meaning flow, whatever that is. So those are the top choices that are the foundation. And then below that are just the things that I choose that are light my fire creatively and relationship-wise or whatever. I have the list. Every day, in the morning and at night, I reaffirm. And I feel into if there's resistance in my body, and then I ask, what's that about? Am I really committed to this? What's in the way? So that's my process that I learned. And then I also do visualization. So, and I can feel in my body if I'm willing to go there. And if I'm not, what's going on? But nobody can do it for us. And it really, I believe that to do that on a daily basis is, I mean, for actors, but for anybody, it's like pivotal to really stepping into the life that you want. Because again, I'll just affirm it really kind of starts and ends right here.
It's easy when things are going your way and you're happy and phone calls are coming to you. But if you get to a point where you're really stuck, I think one of the things to do is to go back to your 25-year plan. Go back and take a look at what your vision is.
But if you're going to be someone that's going to go get something, you have to let go of that adage that everybody else's opinion is more important than yours. For example, with Now Casting, I was going through a lot of things. A lot of people kept telling me, why are you still doing that? If it could be done, it would be done by now. Somebody else could be able to do this. And the bottom line was, I knew in my heart that this is what I had to do. I was driven to do it. And when I got discouraged, I just had to reaffirm that. And I had to forget all the negativity or the opposite, the contradictory things that were coming from everybody else. Because the only person that truly knows what's possible for you is you.
Because, I mean, we live in a country that's based on, like, pioneer stock, and they, like, made it through all circumstances, and they got here. And so then there is, I mean, I come from farmers that, you know, despite grasshoppers and drought, you know, they'll still, like, you know, make it through. And so we're anticipating that when we hit those walls, when we hit what are our grasshoppers and our droughts, that somehow we're bad for having even gotten grasshoppers and hit droughts. But it's human, and to be okay with that and to go, okay, I'm on the right path because I've hit a wall. Yay me, I hit a wall. It's how fast we get ourselves off the wall. It's how fast we can turn, because hitting it is actually a great thing. Finding us in that place, when I say it, when I'm on the couch, when I'm just, flat on the couch, yay, I'm on the couch. That means I have extended myself, or I have put myself in a place of risk, and I'm having an experience around it, and that's okay. How fast I can get myself off the couch, and how gentle I can be in taking that experience on the couch, like, it's okay, Tamara. My own self-talk, if it can be as sweet and kind and gentle to myself, I will actually get off the couch faster.
You know, when I have this sort of breakdown period, the first thing is like acknowledging that you're in that you really are stuck. And then I look at what is my story that I'm telling myself, and I write down, this is what I'm telling myself. I am not talented enough, I can't write dialogue, and I write the list of things that I'm telling myself. Then I compare it to the facts. The fact is, this producer didn't like this script. Period. That's the fact. You don't know why. He may have not liked it because he had a competing project. It could have had nothing to do with your interpretation. So I look at the facts and I start to look at the story, my story versus the facts, and I go, you know what? I am maybe looking at this in the wrong way. And then I start to think about, what are the things I've accomplished in my life, and what am I good at that I know in a factual way, not just like tooting my own horn, but I know I'm good at this and this and this. And I start kind of a rebuilding process. I start to say, you know what, I'm not going to look at this negative story that I've created and made up. I'm going to look at the facts, I'm going to look at what I'm good at, what I've accomplished, and then I'm going to start back on that track of setting goals and going for it.
So, let's hear from our guests, their final words of wisdom in a nutshell.
I think every one of us gets stuck, and it happens sometimes when things are going really well and you just run up against something or someone that just completely derails. What I would recommend is do something, even if it's not directly related to your goal. Even if it's something that you can do on a weekend on your own, sometimes just the action of getting involved will unstuck you in other areas. And I find that if I clean out my closet, I can make a phone call. There's something in there that switches your brain.
My favorite film is 8½, by Federico Fellini, and when I get depressed about, like when I get into that whole, why do I want to make movies? It's such a terrible industry. Everybody rejects you. It's terrible. You can't raise the money. It's awful. Like, I watch 8½, and it reminds me of why we make movies. We make movies because sometimes they turn out like that. You know what I mean? So I think like something like that, like a talisman or a totem that you can go back to and remind yourself, re-inspire yourself.
Well, I think that one thing that I was taught at the Flash Forward Institute was that breakdowns are breakthroughs. And so that if you are stuck, that means you're breaking through to some new level. So I think to go with some optimism about that you really think you are in the middle of the woods and it's dark and you'll never get out, that there really is something new that you're learning and that you're processing, and that you will come out on the other side with a lot more knowledge and a lot more wisdom.
The thing about stuckness is the first step is owning that you're stuck and owning your part in it, and owning that that's not really how the world is or has to be. That you are in charge of recreating that for yourself, reaffirming, re-choosing what you stand for, and standing in that, and just like let the other thing go. Because if you hold on to it, you can remagnetize that event again and again until you grow up and learn that it's really just all you.
What I want to leave you with is this. We're all going to get stuck, whether from internal reasons or external sources. We're human. It happens. The question is, how long are you willing to stay stuck? Minutes, days, hours, weeks, years? How about seconds? Wouldn't that be a whole lot more fun? This is your life. This is your career. You're here to be fully self-expressed and to have fun. So how about cutting down, way down, on the time that we are stopped and stuck? Okay, so use the tools, use the techniques that we talked about in Goal Setting Part 1 and in Goal Setting Part 2. And specifically these two, your timeline visually displayed, perfect. Secondly, your accountability. You know, rely on your team and your partner to coach and inspire you when you do get stopped and stuck. Once again, I want to thank our guests for joining us for this extremely important issue and for sharing their experiences and their advice with us today. Join me next time when I'll be speaking about what I think is one of the most fun and important issues to help put you on that road to success, and that is networking and creating relationships in the entertainment industry. Once again, my name is Suzanne Lyons for Master Talent Teachers. Thanks for watching.